Welcome back, YouTubers. Hey, today I'm working on this Marvel Schebler updraft carburetor for a Ford 4000 four-cylinder tractor. And what I'm doing is basically doing a temporary rebuild on this because, like always, the seal right here for the throttle shaft was worn out, and the throttle shaft itself a little bit worn. You can see where it's real shiny right there, a little bit worn, and you could actually move this one around in the hole really loose. And we were having trouble. This tractor, they just bought it 3 days ago. Been in the family for decades. And it went from one brother to the other brother. And one's in his 80s, one's in his 90s. So anyway, the younger brother wants to fix this old tractor up and run it as long as possible, keep it in the family. And unfortunately, the older brother was taken advantage of. He had someone who charged him $250 to supposedly rebuild this carburetor. And as you see it now, is after I bead blasted it, completely cleaned it out, and it is now coated with Steel It paint, which is it's a heavy coat of paint, and it's stainless steel powder. And so this is not the metal look, even though it was cleaned. But when I got a hold of this thing, it was rusted, just rusted all to hell. If there was a new part in here, it was a $3 gasket for the bowl. And not only did they not rebuild it, they lost parts. They lost the Venturi. And I have a different Venturi. This is out of an old Bendix. But this is a certain style of Venturi, and they lost the Venturi for this old Marvel carburetor. And that Venturi, I actually made one today, and you can see it down in there. I made it out of aluminum, and the reason I made it out of aluminum was, number one, to get it back into service, but also you can get a Venturi online for $30, but it's plastic, and it's $30 plus shipping. Some places, a few places, it's $30 and they'll ship it to you free. If you want a brass one, it's $50. Well, I can get an all new carburetor for $159. You know, why pay $50 for one little part? And people are selling these that are all rusted all to hell. You don't even know what's inside of them, if anything. And they're selling them for well over $100 because people want the original. So anyway, I've already ordered a carburetor kit that comes with a new throttle shaft. I don't remember. I looked at so many of them. I don't remember if it comes with a new choke shaft or not. But it does come with a new throttle shaft, all the seals, the bushing, no float, but the float valve, a new power valve, and a new idle screw. But it won't be here for like 10 days. So basically what I wanted to show you guys is my temporary repair, which really is not necessarily temporary. It's temporary because I've got a kit coming, but this is a way you can work on these old carburetors without buying a full kit, and you can do a lot of work. So as I stated earlier, one of the first things that you replace is there's a felt. It's basically felt, but there's a gasket in here. It's an air seal, and it's held in by this little, it almost looks like a freeze plug, but yet it's got a hole in the middle of it, obviously, for your shaft to go through. Here's the old piece that came out, and of course it's hard as can be because it's been packed in there for over 50 years. And so what I did to replace this was I had just happened to go to my local Dollar Tree store. She'll focus for me. I'll get you a name on this thing. And it's not going to do it. There we go. Tool bench. Anyway, at my local $1 shop or Dollar Tree, whichever one it was that I got this whole assortment of felt. And they've got adhesive backing on them. As you can see, there's rounds, different sizes, strips. There's a big sheet underneath. And what I did was took one of these, took my leather punch, went to the largest size punch that's on there, and I simply punched a hole in that area that's cut out. I punched another hole so you can see how it looks. And then I just took a pair of scissors and trimmed it out. And it doesn't really matter that it's real neatly trimmed, in a round fashion, because you're going to cram it in there, put the retainer behind it, and then you're going to carefully work your shaft through there, which I've already done. And if you're doing that, do be careful, because as you can see, there's not much left of that shaft after it's machined away, and you don't want to break these, especially if you're trying to get your tractor back into service soon. But anyway, I worked it through there. It does fit, so now I can put it back in. The other thing I wanted to show you was on the power valve, there's an O-ring on this style. And this carburetor is a tsx-813, but the TSX carburetors are real similar on a lot of them. But anyway, that O-ring right there, whoever put it on, they used a regular O-ring. And there's pieces of it laying here. That was just a regular O-ring, and that thing sits in gas all the time. At your local O'Reilly's, you can get an assortment of fuel-rated O-rings. And I think it's $6. And you get all different kinds. And mainly what they're for is for fuel injectors. But I bought a kit years ago, one of those assortments years ago, for one O-ring. And I still have that kit. And so I just went out and lo and behold, there's my fuel-rated O-ring. So guys, I've got to make one more gasket because somehow I have misplaced the gasket that goes on the power valve body. And it's just a simple flat washer gasket. Somewhere around here I've got some packing material or some gasket material out in the garage, I'm sure I do. And I'm just going to cut another gasket for that. And I'm ready to put it all back together and take it back out and put it on the tractor and do some adjusting and everything. And we'll get this dude back running without having to wait that 10 days to get my parts in. But anyway, guys, just thought I would show you a few shortcuts or a few hacks on these old types of carburetors. And this is a Marble Schebler. There's Zenith, there's Holly, Bendix. Bendix was an aftermarket, and there's different sizes, obviously, but a lot of them are similar, and these same kinds of principles will work on them. So do what you need to do, guys, to get your equipment back together. Hope that helps you out. Thanks for watching.